Dr. Jones, thanks for joining us today.
Oh my God, I'm on camera. Okay.
We are very glad to have you here, and I'm very appreciative you took the time to share with us some of your experiences. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, well, thank you very much for having me. It was nice because we actually met about a month or 2 months ago on like via text. And
Yep.
so it's nice to put a face with the name and with the kindness you showed me by giving me the mask. So I'm Jewel Jones. I'm an emergency room physician. I've been out of residency almost 10 years now, and I'm primarily a traveling ER doctor, but currently I'm based out of Binghamton, New York.
Okay. So you've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah. Yes.
So where are you working now?
So for the last 6, maybe 7 weeks, I've been working in New Jersey at 2 hospitals that were extremely hit by COVID-19. And I'm working as a hospitalist, taking care of only COVID-19 patients.
How's it been?
It's very interesting because where I was in Binghamton, we never got the surge. And so a consequence of that is that we lost shifts, we lost hours. And so I had a lot of free time on my hand. And my mom one day called, she's like, you have all these skills, you have all this training, you're sitting at home watching Netflix. She goes, you should do something. You should either work in the city or go to New Jersey. And I was really upset at her. I was like, you want me to get sick? You want me to be in there? And she goes, no, I mean, you have all your stuff, you'll be fine. And I thought about it for about 24 to 48 hours, and I talked to someone through my company, and they're like, yeah, you know, we have like great need here at these 2 hospitals in New Jersey, actually 4 of the hospitals. I'm at 2 and another colleague is at 2. And if you're willing to try something different, we have an opportunity for you. And so I remember I was working at my place in Binghamton, and I was on night shift, and they called me at 6 p.m. to say, hey, we took you off your night shift tonight. You have to go to New Jersey tomorrow at 8 a.m. to start working. I was like, wait, what? I was like, I know I said I wanted to do it, but I don't think I was really ready for it the next day. It was a 3-hour drive down, and I cried the entire 3 hours. I was in the car and I was bawling. I was like, I'm going to die. I just had this intense fear because I didn't know what it was. You hear all the stories, you didn't know what it was. And it was just as bad as everyone told me. The first 2 days was just as bad. So basically, my job was to do the rapid responses, the code blues, and I had like 24 patients of my own. And easily between noon and 7, there were 7 rapid responses. Patients had to get intubated, and I actually slept through the last one because I was so tired. Yeah, I woke up to them saying anesthesia stat, which meant somebody else had shown up and said they needed anesthesia. That's just how tired I was. And I was like, I remember crying. I was like, Mom, what did I get myself into? But you know what? There's something about it. Maybe because I'm emergency room doctor, we're used to codes, we're used to rapid responses, but you get used to it. So the next day, it wasn't as hard. And the day after that, it wasn't as hard. And you kind of like, okay, you understand, like you make your way through it. And there's so much support from the nurses, from, you know, the nurse manager, the residents, the aides, anesthesiology, everyone rallies around in support, and you just kind of do what needs to be done. Yeah, you do what needs to be done.
Well, that's interesting. So how do you feel, like everybody has the kind of the same mentality, a cohesiveness, if you will, like we're all in this together? Have you felt that?
Yeah, so by the time I got to this facility, they had been in the trenches, I would say, for about 2 weeks. So, you know, one of the residents said to me, another resident, the nurse said to me, he was like, this isn't too bad. He was like, the first weekend because they went from having no patients to having all COVID patients in the hallways everywhere, to rapid responses, people being in respiratory distress overnight. So it wasn't like a gradual buildup for them. So what I got used to in 3 days, they've had 2 weeks to get used to. So they're like in sync in sort of how it works. So I think my initial shock, you could see their face of like, oh, she'll get used to it, and you do. And it was nice because they had a rhythm. They knew exactly how things were done, who was going to do what, and it was nice. So my job was just to run what I could run and do what I already knew to do in the ER. Just in a setup was already there for you. Like the intensivists came down, anesthesiology came to they had like a routine, and it was really nice.
So there was no stress in what do we do? Everybody knew.
Correct. Correct. Everyone just knew. And I think the shock of it for me was just how frequent it was happening, but I never worried about the care the patient was going to get, or if anyone else didn't know their role, especially, you know, me being, it's the first day, I don't know the staff, I don't know what I'm working with, but they were just so happy that I was confident. I was like, I'll intubate the patient. They were like, oh, great. Like, so it was really nice. It was really nice. It was a good experience.
And so I guess you were seeing a lot of sick patients.
Yes. Yes.
What would you say the percentage that you had lost?
So I want to point out that these are patients sicker than I've ever seen before, right? So you'll have somebody saturating 78% on a non-rebreather and they're on the floor because they're not sick enough for the ICU. Or you'll have them 6-liter nasal cannula, a non-rebreather mask, and they're on the floor at 80% because they're just not sick enough for the ICU. And that was, I think, something initially surprising, but then when you realize that 15 of your patients on this one unit is the same way, you're like, okay, it becomes the norm. It's hard to say what percentage of my patients died because a majority of the patients had already been there maybe 14 days before me and had already been made DNR, DNI, or some that made hospice care. So the nurses would just call you to say, hey, can you pronounce this patient? I give the example to my friends that in the 10 days that I worked, the first 10 days I worked at the hospitals, I pronounced more people dead than I have since 2005 in medical school.
Wow.
Yeah, because of the patients having been DNR, DNI. I remember, like, I would work night shifts, I would cover all units. So yeah. So, I mean, I joke to my friends that my name is on a lot of death certificates. And it's like, I have to laugh, otherwise I would cry.
So how's everybody coping with this? Are they coping with this?
Right. So I remember the first 2 days, because I didn't have time to prepare for it. It was like, I told them, yeah, I'm interested in it. And next day they were like, hey, you're going. The first 2 days was definitely shocking, but I was always impressed by how together the nurses were, like how nothing was a shock to them. Nothing was too hard. Nothing was a problem. Like, they were so together. And so their confidence made me confident. Does that make sense? So, like, I wanted to call my friends and call my mom and say, this is crazy, this is going on. But they were just so like, okay, we gotta do the next patient. Like, I remember one patient, we had rapid response in one bed, and unfortunately we lost the guy, he died. All right, so I'm doing my rapid response note, and his roommate started to code as well. And everyone just put on back their gown, put on back their gear, and we went back in. Like, no one paused, no one cried, just like we had to do, because you didn't have time to be sad because someone's life was at stake. And that guy survived. And he actually left, he got discharged. So that was like, it's like a win, you know? And what I love about having done what I've done is I remember the first 2 days, so many people were dying. And when I worked yesterday, I discharged 10 people. And it's like the progression, right? Like, yes, there's progress, you know? Yeah, it's really, yeah. But I mean, I won't lie. I mean, I was really upset. The first day, 2 days, I was upset. I told everyone. I wrote these long pieces about my experience, and everyone was just like, you should publish it. And I was like, no, I just wanted to vent, right? I just wanted to say what I was feeling and get it out and go back in and do what I can to help, you know?
Yeah. That was my question. How did you decompress? Well, how did you
Yeah, so I am fortunate. I think you're probably like this too. Like, ER, we're really a close group of people, right? And so my 9 closest friends are all ER, female ER physicians like myself. Some of them I trained with, some of them I've met along the way, and we're very tight. From the beginning of this, we had our little group chat and we talked to each other about what we heard from China, what we heard from Italy. One of my friends was at the first hospital in Seattle to get all those COVID patients. So I would hear from her what her stories were from the intensivist. And so we're always supporting each other. And so all they wanted to know was like, every 5 minutes, how are you? What's going on? Do you want to talk? And it made such an impact. It was just like, okay, do you want to talk? So I always had, you know, my parents, my cousins, you know, my mom is one of 7. I'm one of 13. So there was always someone to talk to. I think if anything, I didn't want to talk, right? No, it's like, I don't want to have to tell the story over again. I just want to like go home and rest up and get ready. But it was so nice knowing that I had the support system. And like, you know, if I ran out of food, I had food. Like I was telling people, every day I've been getting flowers. Like I get tulips every day because they're my favorite flowers. One of my friends today sent me succulents. I've been getting like chocolates. Someone sent me a six of my favorite like French champagne. Like people have just been so thoughtful to me. It's been unreal. The nurses, even though they're doing the bulk of the work, I feel because I put in all these orders, right? And they make it happen. They're like, Dr. Jones, do you want some food? And I was like, I should be taking care of you. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah. But there are definitely times like, you know, say if you have like 15 or 20 minutes down, you're just doing some charting and you think about it all, you definitely want to cry. I got signed out about someone they admitted at 4 p.m. And at 3 a.m., he started to have really bad respiratory distress and had to get intubated. So this was 3 a.m. He was doing well when I left at 7 a.m. I came back at 7 p.m. He was the first patient I coded and he died. He was a young guy, 50. The next day, his daughter died. She'd also been admitted. And that was the hardest thing because I had been talking to him. I told him he was going to be fine and he didn't do well, right? And then, so the nurse and I who took care of him, we cried together. It was so, she was consoling me and I was like, I feel so awful. And when the daughter died, it was even more devastating. I mean, it's the first time in my life I felt so helpless because, you know, as ER physicians, we save lives. That's our goal. We want to do, like, even if we can't figure it out, we MacGyver it, right? We come up with something. And I have never felt so helpless, but yet so useful in my life at the same time.
Very interesting.
Yeah, like, because there's nothing I could do, right? Obviously something is affecting him and his daughter. Nothing I was going to do to make them better. But then, like I said, I discharged how many people yesterday? Like, that was a win. So, yeah.
You know, not a lot of people can come to terms with what you just said. Like, I feel useless, yet I am also, I'm able to help.
Yeah, it was really funny. Do you remember that photo I sent you with me and like the marks from the thing? And I remember like I wanted to post it on Instagram and I felt so silly for wanting to post it, to be like, oh, look at my marks, look at the scars. Because all I could say is like, yeah, I have the little bruises from my mask, but I get to walk out of the hospital every day, right? I get to breathe on my own every day. And I feel even bad saying that. I feel as if like I'm comparing myself to these patients, but it's like how much we have to be thankful for. But yeah, I don't know how other people are doing, but I'm lucky. I'm doing okay. That being said, I don't have a husband. I don't have children. And I think it's harder for people who have that because they're always worried about that person in their life, right? Whereas for me, I go to my hotel room, you know, I had the people who talk to me and I'm okay and I get going. And I guess it's because I work a lot. I work a lot, so maybe that's why I don't think too much about it.
So definitely a different form or heightened sense of appreciation.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it's a common theme that we've been seeing. And I mean, you touched upon all of those. And I have to marvel because you're in the thick of it, yet you're exuding hope. You're exuding kind of optimism. And I don't know if, you know, it's like, what are you doing to get there?
Well, but let me tell you, the optimism really only came the last 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, today's Thursday?
Yes.
Sunday was the first night I worked where I didn't code someone, I didn't have a rapid response. Yeah, so since the middle of March till Sunday, that was the first time. So my optimism only came because of that. Yeah.
You started seeing some.
I started seeing like improvement because before that, I was like, this is, like I said, before that, all I was joking about was my name is on so many death certificates, right?
Yeah.
Because I was working the night shifts and I was the person who went around or the person they called, like, hey, Dr. Jones, this person was made DNR yesterday, and now they died. I'm like, wait, what? It was definitely, yeah. But I'm happy that there's hope because I think it's my nature to believe that it's darkest before the dawn, but the dawn is coming. And I was happy when I finally experienced dawn. I was happy when I experienced dawn, yeah.
I'm relieved to hear that because I was worried. I know you're up there. When you sent me that picture of you with
Yeah.
that's this kind of this reality that, okay,
Yeah.
this is our reality, right? And what we are dealing with. But these are the scars only on the outside. What about your scars on the inside?
Right.
And so that's the key. And I think that will show up as we start to let it come. Let's just say, let just come out. And the fact that you talked to so many people was wonderful, because most of us I'm fine. No, I'm good.
Right.
Yeah. And you have the ability to talk to your 8 ER friends.
Right.
Well, as I'm going to my family, what am I going to tell them? I just pronounced 10 people dead today. Who wants to hear that?
Right. And it's so interesting because it's like with like my ER girls, they want to hear it, because where they are, they never got the surge. Okay. So they don't understand. So because I think if I talk to someone who was experiencing it as bad as I was, or I have, they wouldn't have been as willing to listen because they're going through it, right? So these are people who didn't just do 12 hours of a marathon of running up and down from floor to floor, unit to unit, or call an operator, be like, what floor was it again? So they're like, okay, use me as a bouncing board, use me as a sounding board and like talk to me. And it's like, okay, it was good. And it's funny. It's like when I needed it, they were there. And since I've needed it less and less, we talk now about French macarons or, like this person, if they're having problems at home. It's amazing how everyone's normalized my experience now. And I think that makes it okay. The fact that it's not like, oh, Jules over there, getting sick. Because I think that was a big thing too. Everyone was afraid for me. Yeah. Everyone was just like, what do you mean you volunteered to go to this area? They're like, be safe, don't get sick. And do you know what I do? I cut off anyone who had negativity. Anyone who was like, oh my God, I'm so worried about you. I stopped responding to them right away. I told my friends, unless you're going to give me encouragement, positivity, and you're going to tell me you're praying for me, I really cannot communicate with you right now. And that was very important to me. And like people who would send me positivity every day or like, strong or normalize my situation. So I didn't feel like I was such an out there person. Because I could imagine, it's funny. My mom is always worried about me. I'm her only child. My father has other children, and she's always worried. This was the first 6 weeks my mother has not worried. She has not bothered me. She's not said, I'm so worried about you. I'm so nervous. Not one. She's always like, God's taking care of you. I'm so happy for what you're doing. It's the first time in my life that my mother has not said one negative thing about worrying about me. Where are you this? No. She's just been like a source of strength. And I haven't said anything to her because I don't want her to start crying because I know she probably would. But it's amazing because she knew if she was even the slightest doubtful, I would have lost it probably. Yeah.
That's amazing. It's really amazing. I'm glad that I'm able to carry all of this and bottle it and show it to people.
Yeah.
They'll have access to it. You'll have access to it.
Right.
And so with that, I want to ask you what would you tell folks? Like, what's your advice for them?
Oh boy, this is so hard because I think about this all the time. I think the one thing I was surprised from the whole experience is how strong the human spirit is. I mean, we would lose patients and their family members will send large flowers or food to the nurses and the staff thanking them. And to me, it was almost like, wait, your family member died, but yet you're thanking us for how hard we worked. And whether the person was there 37 days or 2 days, everyone has just been so thankful for everything that we've done. I think I want to tell people that there's hope. It's getting better because seeing what it was before to how it is, I think we have a better handle on it. We're treating people better. And that's also a good thing too. Because before, right, the patients from the beginning are still on the ventilator or they've passed away. But so many patients are not going on the ventilator and being discharged very quickly, which is such new. And I think that also feels, I'm sort of taking control again, because in the beginning I felt so out of control, but now we know better as you're learning how to take care of the patient. And I think that there's always hope means a good thing. And a lot of people ask me, what do you think about it? Where did it came from? I'm like, I don't know. At this point, I'm just trying to manage the patient, right? And making sure people go home and to know that people are going home is great. Obviously, we're seeing, you know, all the different things that happen once you get COVID, so that's a little unnerving. But there's hope. I think there's hope. Yeah, because, you know, I think so many people, everyone wants to hear my story. Everyone wants to hear how bad it is, and obviously it's rough, right? When you hear the numbers, when you see all the stories, you see the people with their different things going on, that's rough. But I think that out of it, you should think that humans are kind, humans are caring, humans are considerate, and the human spirit is huge. I mean, when these nurses, they do so much, and I'm so thankful for them. Yeah.
Well, we're thankful for you. I really want to thank you because you took your time. I want to thank you for being up there. I want to thank you for everything you've done and everything you're doing. You know, it's amazing to me what you've gone through. Nobody can experience unless you're there.
Right.
And your message, I can't tell you how important it is. I can't tell you how important what you're doing is.
Thank you.
On so many levels. And, you know, even those who passed away, knowing that somebody cared for them,
right,
was there for them.
Right.
And we do what we can.
Right. I mean, one of my, you know, several people, because some of my friends don't really know what I'm doing now, but I'm starting telling people. And one person said something interesting to me yesterday. He was like, you know what? You're probably a better doctor for this experience. And I said, oh, I was like, actually, I am. I never thought about that. I was like, the breadth of my knowledge has expanded, right?
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, you know, we talk to family, but like every time something happens with the family, I'm always on the phone with the family because they're not able to be in the hospital talking to them. And I think I'm a better doctor, but I'm a better human for this experience. Yeah.
That's amazing that you said that, because I was going to ask you, how would you think your empathy was affected?
Oh, I mean, unreal. I mean, because you know, like people always forget, because we're doctors, we also have family members, right? Like my mom's in Orlando, your family is wherever they are, and we want them to get the kind of care that the best care. And I always tell people, I try to give people the care I would want my mom to get. But I think I've become such a much better empathetic doctor, a better human, and just more understanding and just listening. I mean, I hope it lasts for a while, this empathy, but you know, I do go back to the ER, so anything's possible. But
you'll feel it, Wayne. You'll start feeling, when you start going like, I don't care, wait a second, whoop, I'm losing my empathy.
Right, where you're like, you're here for what, prescription drug? Got it, all right, okay, yeah. But no, I mean, overall, I mean, I'm happy that I did decide to go where I did, yeah. So it was good. Thank you so much. I'm happy we made it. I can't believe I missed our day the first time.
That's fine. I mean, it is what it is. Today's a better day. I see you 4 days into your optimism instead of 2 days into your optimism.
Right? No, it's so true. It's so true. If you had gotten me on Tuesday, I would have been a different person. I mean, I've really just been thinking about it last day. It's like, I'm discharging people. Like, there is light and like something is happening, right? Wow.
Well, thank you again. You have a resource here. Whatever you need from us, you let us know.
All right. Thank you so much.
Stay strong. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Stay with that beautiful smile. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.